I saw a lot of great movies while you've been busy with everything going on. I mean, let's talk about another insanely classic film. Did you see New Mutants?
Oh, did you actually see it? I've been. I was.
I saw it.
I really want this movie to be good, but I just know. I know it's not. You know.
It's horrible. It's bad, and I saw it. I was out on my boat. I went fishing. I was sailing the seven seas. I put on my raincoat, and the seas were rocky from the start.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's just the boat was going up and down and up and down and crashing the waves, or I was bailing the boat out. It was rocky as hell. It was this is one of the if I hadn't already seen Spree. Do you know what Spree is?
Oh, that's
Have you heard of Spree?
The killing spree for YouTube likes or social media likes?
Oh my god.
Is
that if I hadn't already seen that complete piece of shit, I would say this is the worst movie I've seen in 2020. But no, Spree reigns supreme right now in my death rankings of absolute garbage shit that I can't believe they got. I think Drake produced it, which is insane. And then they got the kid from Stranger Things to star in this piece of shit, which I was like, how did they get this kid? This kid is on the track, baby.
Is it
you know what I mean? Like, he's gonna.
Is it the same kid from Stranger Things that's also in the New Mutants, or is it a different?
No. That would be a wild, horrible, shitty year for that kid. It's Joe Keery, the kid with the good hair, who plays Steve, the asshole jock guy.
Yes, gotcha.
In Stranger Things.
Okay.
Nancy's boyfriend.
Right.
Nancy, right?
Yeah, the guy that's like the young.
I haven't seen Stranger Things in 2 years, so I think that's the name of the.
I didn't realize he was
Steve.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize he was So Spree, I've only seen like the internet. I heard a synopsis and I saw like the internet banners for it, but I have not seen a trailer. I feel like I've seen. There's like so many. I assume it's kind of like Cranked, kind of, or like Guns Akimbo that just came out. You know, one of those like...
It's nothing like those films, because those films are watchable.
Oh, wow.
Spree is not watchable. You can't watch it. It's... I'm not kidding. I almost want you to see this like I want you to see The Beast Must Die. You know what I mean? The Beast Must Die is incredible and great and entertaining. Go watch it, people. But Spree is absolute garbage. And I couldn't believe they got this poor kid to sign his... This is on tape forever. You know what I mean? I can't believe you would agree to do this, my man.
Well, so for either of these movies, are they redeeming at all in a so bad it's good way, or is it just flatline? Like,
no, so they both have people in them that I can't believe they got them to do it. Where New Mutants has Anya Taylor-Joy, who has been really good.
Yeah,
she is playing the Russian
Magic.
What's her name? Magic.
Who's a great character. Like, I was really excited when they announced it because Magic is an awesome character, but I have no idea how well they pulled it off in the movie.
Well,
not well.
I mean, you know, no, dude, no. It's so. Well, it's just like, I hate watching people aren't Russian try to do the Russian accent.
Yeah.
It kills me.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I can watch Australians be American. It's fine. No one cares. Brits, you name it. I can watch Leonardo DiCaprio pretend to be a South African in Blood Diamond, and you can kind of go with it. Oh, God, whatever. You roll your eyes. But watching people try to do the shitty, like, Russian is horrible to watch. I'm trying to remember other.
Well, I always just other movies with shitty Russian. I mean,
other examples. Oh, it's horrible.
I mean, the Russian characters are usually the whoever is playing them is usually like just bathing in the river of hammy acting. Usually like playing Russian in a lot of these like bigger popcorn movies. It's kind of like you just have like the decree to like go crazy. You know, start talking about vodka and in Russia car drives.
Potatoes.
Yeah. Like, it just all seems like the most baseline like an SNL level, accents and character development and stuff. You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The only person that has successfully played Russian that I enjoyed is the dude who plays the Russian cosmonaut in Armageddon.
Oh yeah, well, isn't he? He's not Russian, but isn't he?
Is he Russian?
No,
is he something Baltic at least?
It's been a long time since I've seen Armageddon. That's the Das Otto guy, right? The dude from Fargo.
Yeah, let's see it. I'm looking him up. Peter Stormare. He's in everything.
He's
in
German, isn't he?
Fargo. He's Swedish.
Swedish. Okay.
The Swedes can do almost anything. They can do no wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But his take on Russian is the only acceptable one I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
This is how you fix things in Russian space station. That shit.
Yeah.
That's the only acceptable one. But back to this. New Mutants and Spree, they both have people that you think are far too good to be in this hunk of shit. Where one is Anya Taylor-Joy, where you think like, oh, she's up there with like Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, where she's in that young group where you could see them kind of taking on like the Natalie Portman style roles as they kind of get older. You know what I mean? I think Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, she was in. Man, she's been doing more. Was she in?
She was in Emma. She does a lot of work.
Jane Eyre. Yeah, Emma. Yeah. But she's gearing, man. She's on her track.
Oh, dude,
like
she's gonna be.
She's done her hokey, shitty Split movies and Glass.
She was in Thoroughbreds, and isn't she gonna be Furiosa in the new Mad Max?
Oh, I didn't know that. No, that's a weird. That seems like a weird fit if that's true. But yeah, you can see she's got some chops. You know what I mean? So this one, I can understand why they were like, hey, X-Men, baby, let's do it. You want to do this? Yeah, all right. It seems like a cool. But everyone else seems about right, where she seems too good for this.
Right.
They got.
What about Maisie?
Maisie? Yeah. Oh, no. She's horrible.
Really?
Oh, horrible. I mean, they were like, hey, Maisie, not exactly blessed genetically in the certain departments that really help you in a Hollywood career. Let's make you look as bad as possible. And then let's give you some weird, like, Irish, quasi, like, Scottish to make you even more unattractive. And then let's make your character so completely just hollow and wooden that every time you're on screen, people are going to just can't wait for you to be gone.
Well,
you know what I mean? So that was her.
Okay.
And then the other guy from Stranger Things, they were like, hey, guy from Stranger Things, you're kind of like the creepy loner.
Do the Southern accent, Cannonball, or whatever.
Hey, can you do West Virginia? Give me a little Sissy Spacek.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can't.
Oh, no.
Nope, you can't. It sounds horrible.
So is it just like a parade of shitty accents then? Like of different varieties?
Yeah, pretty much. You're just bouncing. You're bouncing from people like you got Maisie Williams, shitty Irish, whatever the hell she is. And then you got Anya Taylor-Joy mumbling through Russian. And then you got, what's his name from Stranger Things trying to sound like he's from West Virginia. And it's just a nightmare. It's just you just can't wait for this to be over. And then you randomly got the girl from Queen of the South. She was in like Predators with Adrian Brody.
Oh, okay.
She's like this weird doctor, but has no like real feel that you're a doctor at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like she doesn't. It's like casting me to be a doctor or something. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
hey,
like
Dr.
you got a lab coat. Okay, you're a doctor. Congratulations.
Right, exactly. They literally put her in it like, here's a stethoscope. Maybe that'll make you more like a doctor. Like nothing about this comes out as like, oh, you've clearly know what you're talking about. Who else? They got some random dumb dude to be Sunspot or something. I'm trying to remember the name of the mutants.
Oh, right.
But he's basically like, I get too hot. And
Oh, isn't it like if he gets a boner, he explodes or something like that? Like it's something tied to sex, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's just. I think he's supposed to be kind of like, in a sense, he's basically just the Flash, where he can just get really hot and burn people and like fly around. It's weird, man. I honestly, and then they got the poor girl who is Moonstar or Dreamstar.
As Moonstar, yeah.
Moonstar. I mean, she's horrible. It just. Where did you find her? On a corner? You know what I mean? Like you guys couldn't find it. You know what I mean? It was brutal. It was just it's so choppy and mishmash. I mean, you can tell that they just hack and slashed it. But I was like, this is what you guys came out with after years? Like, why don't you just take your time or like put it out 2 years ago? Like, do whatever you had to do. Like, this was after the reshoots.
Well,
this is horrible.
Apparently, I was reading up on it, and even though they were supposed to do a bunch of reshoots, they never happened. Apparently, so this is them hacking and slashing from what they had And I'm sure, like, does Maisie Williams look really young? Because if they shot this 3 years ago, she probably, like, was what, like 15 or something like that? Like, she was.
I think Maisie Williams like 23 now or something?
Is she?
I
had no idea.
I don't know. I have no idea. Hold on, let me Google.
I'm sure she.
We're talking about Zac Efron, like he's 22. He's actually like older than us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's like 35 or something. He's
okay.
Maisie Williams is 23, so she would have been 20 when she filmed it. So not super young, but not like.
Regardless, she like probably filmed this in the 1 month she had off from Game of Thrones, and like has not thought about this piece of crap since.
Here, wear this horrible wig. Here's a horrible wig for you. You'll love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw someone post like, hey, this is the biggest piece of shit movie ever, and she retweeted the tweet like, buy your tickets now,
my God.
Like go get it, guys. You know, like she was totally.
That's
because they're being forced to try to promote it,
right,
which is brutal. Like, hey, remember that hunk of shit you did for 6 weeks 3 years ago? Can you tell me more about your the direction?
Sure, I totally remember anything about that experience. I definitely have not blocked out the entire 4 months of my life or whatever.
Totally. No, I mean, and I was watching this poor thing with the director, and he was like, oh, well, it was going to be like a 3-film deal, and then this one we were going to do this, and then in this one we were going to do that, and by the third one we were going to cross over with the other X-Men. And it's like, oh my God, dude. Can you imagine what they sold Anya Taylor-Joy? They sold her on like, listen, honey,
franchise.
Just sign the deal.
Ground floor.
You're going to, franchise, baby. Yeah. Generational wealth. You're going to be the next, blah, 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 blah,
Fox,
blah, blah.
Fox Studios is going to be here forever, so don't worry, you know?
Oof, God. But, this will get good and buried in the absolute, it's funny because I thought, there were all those rumblings, like, months and years ago almost, that it was just going to go like, hey, we think there's a good chance this is just going to come out on Hulu or something.
Wow.
And I think that would have been a much better move. Because I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw an ad for a drive-in, like, come see the New Mutants playing at such and such drive-in. And I was laughing and crying, you know what I mean? At the thought of people actually spending their hard-earned dollars during a pandemic to sit in your car to watch this hunk of shit. Like, I couldn't think of something more depressing.
Damn.
But it's go get out there and let me know what you think. If anything, hopefully it pushes people into reading the comics that sound interesting. I've never read them. I haven't read a lot of the classic like Chris Claremont comics, X-Men early stuff, but it sounded like a cool concept. I don't know why they didn't make that into the movie.
I was gonna say it's so disappointing because I remember getting so hyped up when the original trailer for this movie dropped back in 2017. I was like, oh, cool, it's a horror movie with mutants and everything. Like, I'm assuming the horror stuff didn't work. Like, is the horror element even like prevalent in the movie? Like, is it?
Well, it's hard to be scared when you're laying in your bed watching an iPad, watching a cam pull of, so like it removes a lot of the tension. But I could give it's not. I don't think it would be scary in any kind of situation you're watching the film. You know what I mean? So no, the horror doesn't really scare you. There's no tension. There's no real mystery. Like, I think you would probably figure out what's happening like very early on, like it's pretty clear. And then the final act is so insanely weird and bizarre that if you hadn't read the comics and you don't know what the demon bear is all about, then you're just like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, out of nowhere, there's just a goddamn demon bear running around, like a giant CGI bear.
Oh, wow.
And you're just like, what is happening? Where did this come from? You know what I mean? So it's horrible, man. I hope I've spoiled it enough that you never go see this if you're listening. But I don't know. I mean, it's go see it or don't. I mean, this is one of the true misses of just. I was with you. I was really excited about kind of an edgier. I love edgy shit. You know me. You know what I mean? I want. I'm watching the new Harley Quinn shit on HBO Max, The God, where they're literally saying. I won't even say it on the podcast, but like the C word and shit.
Oh yeah, no,
like
the Harley Quinn show.
Have you seen that?
Harley Quinn show is fantastic. I love that.
It is hard on.
Yeah,
hard on. That's where we need more content, especially children IP like comic books and stuff like that. Screw the children, screw the innocent. Please just make it all for me. I'm an adult man, a man baby. Please just make it hard R and crazy like that. That's where I really need it. And I was really excited for the New Mutants to kind of be another thing that I might like. But yeah, Harley Quinn is great.
Yeah.
So at least we got that. At least we got DC's commitment not to make money is really serving us well. But have you seen that? Have you been watching that?
Oh, the Harley Quinn show? I was watching the Harley Quinn show on DC streaming. So I watched the first season and I loved it, and I haven't caught the second season yet. I probably need to catch it soon because I can't get HBO Max yet, and I know DC Universe is about to get dissolved, so I should...
It's all coming, baby.
Yeah.
It's all coming.
Well,
the rich get richer. I'm just sitting here watching the HBO Max The God.
Well, I'm subscribed. The thing that pisses me off is I'm subscribed to HBO, so I should be able to get HBO Max, but it hasn't come out on Roku yet, so I can't watch it yet. I don't have a PlayStation or anything, you know. It's teasing me because every time we do a podcast or I feel like just there's every internet article is about HBO Max made me jizz my pants from its greatness or whatever,
It's incredible. I'm watching Super Jail. I'm watching Super Ballers, Ball Masters 909.
Right.
Oh God, and anything that crazy Christy, what's his name? Christy Caracas, is that his name? The insane animator dude who
makes
worked
Super
on,
Jail,
Daria,
right.
Squidbillies. Yeah, he made Super Jail. Super Jail was I think his big first, thing. And then I didn't even know that Ball Masters 9,000 or whatever. I didn't even know that existed until HBO Max The God was just heavened it, magicked it down into my into my mouth. You know what I mean? Like the Holy Eucharist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one day maybe when all of the legal IP issues have been settled, I'll be amongst the blessed watching on my Roku. But you'll just have to tell me what it's like for now.
Oh, like Muhammad and Moses and the prophets. I will continue to
spread the word.
Give you the good gospel. You know what I mean? I saw some other movies that didn't suck. If you'd like to hear about them. I don't want to transition too quickly out of the suck. So have a little hit or miss before we get into anything good. Did you see The Tax Collector with Shia LaBeouf?
Ooh,
Shia LaBeouf.
I think you had
Shia LaBeouf.
You texted me and you're like, I think you were we were trying to figure out what to review next, and you're like, hey, how about The Tax Collector? And that's one of the few ones I was like, nope, don't like David Ayer. I'm sorry, except for that tank movie he did. That was good, but all of his other movies.
Is that the World War II one with Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
What was that one called?
Fury, I think.
Fury.
Yeah, I remember liking that. I haven't seen End of Watch. I never got into his fucking gangbanger shit. I don't.
Did he do Harsh Times?
He did. I don't know if he directed that, but he definitely wrote it.
Yeah, wrote it. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, but this is right in your not gonna like it. This is hardcore gangster shit.
What was it?
This is right where, imagine a less stylized version of The Dead Never Die. What was our boy Nicholas Winding Refn's Amazon series?
Too Old to Die Young, that fucking thing?
Too Old to Die Young. This is like a worse version of that.
Ooh.
So if you didn't like that, you're not going to like this. This is like a shitty version of that. Ugh. Made by someone who didn't really care as hard.
Are you telling me that all those tattoos that Shia LaBeouf got were not totally worth it for this role?
Let me tell you something, and I'm going to keep it non-spoilers because I feel like a lot of people have not seen this movie, and it's on demand, but, if you're out there sailing the seven seas, and you stumble across it, you know what I mean? I don't want to completely ruin it for you, but I'm trying to remember a movie that took a strategy of marketing one thing and then doing something completely different this hard.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to... The main spoiler involves Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
And...
I think I get what you're hinting at, maybe.
And I'll say this. Shia LaBeouf is front and center of every piece of marketing attached to this thing. Uh-huh. And he is a very, very minor
oh my god
character in this movie.
Really? Okay.
And which is insane that you've kind of like, well, first of all, they pissed off a lot of people by having Shia LaBeouf act like a cholo, which is apparently appropriation, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. I live in Southern California, but they were upset that Shia LaBeouf is acting like a gangbanger.
Right.
But then a lot of people have been defending it, like, no one cares, like, it's fine,
right.
Go for it. I'd be more upset if I was like, oh, I went to go see a Shia LaBeouf movie, and instead you get a very different thing. And I'd be really pissed if I were the guy who was actually the star of the movie,
right?
And because he's an unknown actor. I can't remember the guy's name. He does a fine job. He's fine, but he's a very unknown actor, and he basically was just David Ayer's friend from, I think, jiu-jitsu class.
Oh, weird.
And David Ayer was like, hey, do you want to be in a movie? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he's the star of the freaking movie.
Wow.
And so they went out and got Shia LaBeouf to play a role, but he's more of an ancillary character in this whole thing. So it's avoid going on the YouTube trailer comments because people will spoil the movie for you instantly.
Right.
And they will start demanding, we want more Shia, we want more of this character. People loved the character that Shia LaBeouf plays, but that character is not. It's like if you were like, hey, the new Star Wars movie, Episode 1, is going to be about Darth Maul. It's all Darth Maul. And you're like, no, well, Darth Maul is like kind of he has like 4 lines and he's like kind of in the. Like he's not in it that much. He's
in the last 10 minutes or something.
Right. And then they're like, oh, we got Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson are the actual stars of Episode 1.
Right.
But imagine all the marketing being like, oh, the new Star Wars movie is about this guy named Darth Maul.
Right.
That's basically what happened. I'm trying to think of another analogy that would kind of be or Jabba the Hutt or something like that. You know what I mean? Where Jabba the Hutt's in it for what, like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. So, just another weird kind of...
The brief smattering of Shia LaBeouf that you get in the movie, he's good? Like, people liked him?
I think he's good.
Okay.
I think so, yeah. All the YouTube crazy people that leave comments on trailer videos and all that stuff, they loved it and said, more Shia, more... I think his name is Creeper. I think that's his character's name. And they were like, he needs his own movie. He needs his own thing. And that's what we thought we were getting.
Yeah. Yeah, why not make this the movie?
Why didn't you make the movie about, this weird gangbanger hitman guy? That's what everyone thought we were going to go see. And it's just about kind of the guy that he works with, and that is kind of more of a son of the boss type standard,
Yeah.
Kind of like what we saw in Too Old to Die Young kind of a thing, Mm-hmm. So it's kind of one of those, like, maybe wait till you catch it on Netflix or Amazon or something, but I was like, let's see, did I write? I wrote bait and switch, and then that's basically how I interpreted that whole weird movie. But another kind of misstep, I think, for David Ayer. So I don't know. He's really gonna have to dig deep and kind of figure something out here.
Do you know if it's making money at all? I feel like his movies like do well at the box office. I know this is kind of a special case or whatever, but I feel.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I hope it made enough money for them to kind of keep doing what they're doing. If they
give us that sequel. Everything's got to be part of a 3-part franchise, and that always works out so well. I think,
I mean, they might be able to do something. Do something with the without getting into
if what you're hinting at, if I'm getting what I think you're hinting at, I'm assuming it's probably hard for them to make a sequel.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
It's gonna be tough. Maybe a prequel. Yeah, right. Finally got around to seeing Capone. Have you seen that?
Oh no,
with Tom Hardy.
I was curious about it. It's got like a really bad buzz on it, so I keep on seeing it on my Amazon. And I keep on wondering if I'm in the mood for it tonight, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. But
you're not. Yeah, you're not gonna be probably. It's
not good. Did you? Is it?
No, man. It's just God.
What's so bad about it? And is it even good on a Tom Hardy just acting weird level?
Well, if you enjoyed the scenes in Bronson where he's just like stumbling around like out of his mind on Quaaludes or whatever they were dumping on him, then you probably love this 2-hour plot. It felt like 2.5 hours. I don't know how long it was. But you're just watching like a man just seep into dementia and piss and shit himself, and Tom Hardy is wearing what might be the worst makeup I've seen in like a real movie in a long time.
Yeah.
And doing like the worst, like weirdest voice, man. I was like, God damn you, Tom Hardy. Can you just do a normal voice?
That's his thing, man. He's always got a... I see, that's the thing is, like, I feel like people celebrate him for, improving so much, but, like, that's the one thing is, like, I feel like he does that unless it's like a Christopher Nolan movie or something where he's like really clued in. I feel like it actually can sometimes detract from the film as a whole. It's kind of like almost like showboating and drawing too much attention to yourself, and it makes me aware that this is Tom Hardy doing a bit instead of like looking at him like a character. And I agree, like just based on the poster alone, like whatever scar on his face that he has looks like some shitty Halloween makeup. Like definitely,
it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, and I think they put Lisa. Is it Lisa Cardinelli? Is that her name?
Oh,
from
Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks, Mad Men, like Scooby Doo, Grandma's Boy.
Right.
She's been in a bunch of stuff. I think they have her in makeup to make her aged up.
Oh man.
And it just looks a little rough, But the movie is just so all over the place, and you're trying to. And it's such a shame because he's such a weird, crazy, interesting character. If they literally just like, hey, Tom Hardy, can you just do Al Capone, like, and running around and doing all the craziness? This is like, hey, let's get deeply syphilitic, dying, disgusting old man. Like, no one, I don't care who you're watching, how much weirdness. You're literally watching him shit the bed, and then Lisa Cardinelli is, like, cleaning him up and like walking him to the bathroom. It's like, dude, I don't want to know. You know what I mean? Like, this is not what I really want to be a party to at this point. You know what I mean? Like, this is not the part of it. It seems like such a waste of a topic, of a character, of a figure, of just a real life crazy bastard that was out there just slanging it. And I know we got, the Boardwalk Empire version, right. And there's been a million different Al Capones and all this stuff. And I know Tom Hardy did the whole legend thing where he's like, I already played a young gangster running around doing it. But God damn it, man, this one ain't it. You know what I mean? This was just, and Trank, what are you thinking, Trank?
Yeah.
Your life is hanging in the balance, and you bet your fucking life on an absolute no one gives a shit. No one wants to watch this. Why would you do this, Josh Trank? This is the worst, like, I would have rather seen Al Capone's, like, years 3 through 5 than what we got.
Baby Capone? I actually want to see
Baby
that.
Capone would have been better than this.
It's like sequel to Boss Baby.
Yeah, exactly. I would have rather seen Tom Hardy play a 3-year-old Al Capone than like I think he was like 48 but looked like he was 90 because he was so messed up from the syphilis.
Oh man.
But just a barrel of monkeys, you know what I mean? It was a real fun watch. Another one, Ash was just like, God damn you. God damn. And I make Ash watch these, by the way, on like her Friday night, Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like the times when she's like, we can't.
Let's watch something fun. Let's order a pizza and like and enjoy.
I go, there's this new movie, Tom Hardy. You know Tom Hardy? Oh yeah, I like Tom Hardy. Oh I got one for you. It's he's playing Al Capone. Oh, go tell me more. Well, let me just put the movie on for you, and then the unpleasantness starts. You know what I mean? And then Ash questions her life attached to me. And she goes, oh, God damn it.
Please tell me she, like, gets revenge and makes you watch something that you don't want to watch that she does that ever happen?
No. So what we do is she just goes, you're gonna have to watch me. We're on, like, a pretty hardcore diet. So, like, she will go out and she'll be like, listen, I'm gonna do this. Like, you're gonna sit in the car and watch me eat a cake pop. And I'm going to drink like a fancy drink, and you're just going to have to deal with it. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm eating grilled chicken and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just squatting and running and eating chicken and, like, egg whites. You know what I mean? Like, that's my life. So, Ash is
just slowly eating cupcakes in front of you and laughing.
She will. So she'll go do like grocery runs and stuff, you know, like, and she'll like, she's the worst liar too. She's like, I went and got In and Out and I just sat in a car and ate it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, God damn you. She's like, yeah, whatever. Had to happen, you know. But I'd rather it be that way, you know what I mean? So if she has to do whatever she's got to do, she does it out of the house. You know?
You hide your shame from me.
Hide your shame. And I've long said, whatever happens in the car stays in the car. You know what I mean? I was like, junk food eaten in that car, that doesn't count. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you wolf it down, if you can finish the food before you even get back to the apartment, we're good, baby. We're good.
If you get takeout, you take that burger into the bathroom and you eat it on the toilet. Like a civilized human being.
Absolutely. You know, back in the old high school days, that's how I used to rock it. But yeah, Capone, oh my God, horrible.
Okay.
Go out there and see it, kids. You'll love it.
Okay.
It's a barrel of monkeys.
Glad I missed it.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. Let's see, what else?
Well, I think you're probably going to get to it, but did you say you saw Sputnik, or is that for later on?
Oh, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
That was the pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, well, Russia, not really known for its cinema to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for a lot of it. Unless you're like...
Can you name another good Russian movie? What was the one with what was their the Russian Avengers with the bear man?
yeah.
Man, bear, pig?
I've seen trailers for it. I have no idea what the hell they're called, but it's just Bobo Avengers, I guess. But yeah,
no. Rare Imports Russian, or was that from like Sweden or something?
that was Sweden. I think by and large, like Sweden kicks Russia's ass for a lot of those things. But you know, you get like classic cinema like Tarkovsky, but like aside from that, not really. But I had been curious about this movie too. This was the one movie I had like really wanted to see, and I just didn't get around to it this week. So I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Yeah. So this is another one that I assume most people have not seen. It's out there on demand. It's basically it takes place
the 60s. I'm assuming when
60.
Isn't that when Sputnik?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
the space race, right?
Okay, so let me just say this. Sputnik was the first satellite that went up in the 50s. I think. I think it was the first like man-made object that we put in orbit. Don't crucify me if that's wrong. I think that's what Sputnik was. It was just a satellite, an unmanned satellite that the Russians shot up. And then that started the space race because the Americans went, holy shit, we got to get on the ball because we can't be having the Russians flying shit over our heads. We can't be doing this. So that was what, I'm pretty sure that's what Sputnik was.
That is.
Now, they named this movie Sputnik. It has nothing to do with anything.
Okay.
They literally just could call this Russian space movie.
Oh, I thought this was like
Sputnik means nothing.
I thought it was like Apollo 11. You know, like they came out with the horror movie where it's like Apollo 11 was actually destroyed by space aliens and not other shit. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So it's about a Russian cosmonaut, you know, an astronaut, cosmonaut, whatever you want to call him, who has an incident in space. This is very early on in the space program because they're in like capsules. You know what I mean? Like the Apollo one. So this was. Forgive me, probably late 60s, early 70s, I think.
Okay.
Maybe in the 80s. You can't, Russia really, you know what I mean? Like, Russia, it might have been listen, I don't want to get off my rocker here, but like, the Russia factor kind of throws a lot of this off because, you know, I don't know if Russia is 30 years behind our space program. So, like, I don't know if it was 1997 when they were finally putting people up there. And they were still in chimps and dogs and rats and stuff in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I don't know, okay? So I don't know when the movie takes place. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. They've somewhere in the last 40 years.
Okay.
It's Russia, so you never know. I don't know if I'm looking at frigging, you know, again, I don't want to go on a rant about Russia here, but it's hard to tell people. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to tell. There's a weird, fun, like, listen, I'm ranting for a purpose. And if you go see this movie, you'll go, God damn it, Dave was right. He was right. That you can't tell what age you're in Russia. Everything looks like shit.
It's just
you don't know if it's today. You don't know if it's 1950.
They don't have cell phones, right? That's the one indicator.
There is. Yeah, you'll at the end of the movie, you'll look back and go, God damn it, he was right. He was right. Just I don't want to spoil it, but there's a moment where you will know what I'm talking about.
Interesting. Okay.
And the Russia factor looms large. So a cosmonaut, he's in a capsule sometime in the last 40 years with another guy. Something happens. They don't show it. It's all off camera. And then they land in the capsule. somewhere in Uzbekistan or something. And the next thing we know, they show a scene where there's obviously been some sort of an accident inside the capsule. There's some unpleasantness, I'll say, where things have not gone according to plan. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And a young kind of hotshot, wild, renegade young doctor is recruited by kind of a shadowy figure type to come and talk to this cosmonaut who is he's one of the cosmonauts from the mission, right? So he's being held in a kind of off-site location somewhere in the depths, not in the, he's in one of the stands, you know what I mean, in the great former Soviet Union. He's not anywhere near Moscow. They make a point of that being very important. And
keep him.
He's basically he's being kept under observation,
right.
And they want her because she's kind of a non-traditional. It's explained. This isn't really a spoiler, but basically the reason she's being brought in is because she did something very radical to treat a young patient that put his life in danger, but actually cured him of his ailment. But people have kind of ostracized her, criticized her, and want her medical license removed because of the way she did this. So this attracts her to. This makes her kind of a, she's got nothing. She's kind of an outcast, but she's obviously talented because she gets results. So kind of perfect for this shady thing that this, the Russian government kind of wants her to come help with. Mm-hmm. So she initially gets recruited because they want her to start kind of they want her interpretation of some things that are going on with this cosmonaut who's come back, and it's kind of revealed. And this is very general plot stuff. This is not the movie. This is all in the trailer. This is all very just preliminary plot stuff. That something has attached itself to him in space and is living as some sort of weird parasitic alien creature inside of him that is kind of giving him some interesting abilities, and he's not aware that this is attached to him. There's no ill effects right now, so he's almost kind of better because this thing is kind of using him as a host.
Gotcha.
And so every night this thing leaves his body, and they want her to study it and try to interact with it and figure out how to basically, it's Russia, baby. So guess what they want to know? How do we make it a weapon? Yeah. How do we control it? How do we use this against our enemies?
Right.
How do we stop our enemies from getting this? So that's the general broad strokes of the movie. And where it goes from there, it goes crazy. So and her processes and her kind of experiments with it and learning about it and all that kind of stuff. It's very interesting. It has kind of almost like a Venom type vibe. Another great Tom Hardy movie. You know what I mean? Where it's something trying to struggle with something that he can kind of use almost as a weapon in times, but not, and you can't really control it. And so it has kind of those elements too, but really well done. Very dark, very I kept thinking, wow, this is Russia. I can't believe it. You know what I mean? This actually looks like a movie. It looks like a real, honest to God, not shit movie.
Is it like Alien-esque, classic 70s Alien? That's kind of the vibe the trailer gave me, or I just assumed that's what they were kind of going for in terms of tone?
It kind of has a, I think we talked about Dark, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it kind of has almost that kind of feel where it looks like if Dark was a movie, kind of that same feel.
Okay.
So very good. Enjoyed it. Go out there, try to find it, catch it. Fun little horror movie, action-y, horror-y. Watch the trailer. I mean, you'll see aliens run around tearing people apart and shit. It's in the trailer, so I don't, you know what I mean? It's it's very clear how they've marketed the movie. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's spoiling anything. But
It's
a lot of.
Wait, you're not telling me that Shia LaBeouf pops out of the cosmonaut's chest every
I wish, man. I wish. You know, him and the kid from Peanut Butter Falcon just pop out at the end, and they run hand in hand, you know, skipping into the sunset together. But a super pleasant surprise in a just absolute dog shit year of movies.
Right.
Given the fact that we haven't seen Tenet because we're just peasants who,
we can't
see movies right now.
Can't fly to the next theater available that's showing it or whatever. Not yet, anyways.
What's crazy is like the irony isn't lost on me that I'm basically like I could drive to Los Angeles and right now, probably I don't know, 30 minutes or something. You could drive to DC in 5 minutes, up to New York in a few minutes, like 5 hours, and we can't see movies. And then the middle America is the only ones that are allowed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well,
I don't know where Tenet is playing. I think you have to go to Vegas. I think Vegas is the closest place showing Tenet.
I'm surprised. Like, I think they put like a moratorium on like not letting it play in drive-throughs, but that would be the movie I would go to a drive-through for. You know what I mean? But I'm curious because the buzz for it. Like, I've been trying not to read that much about it, but I just like you see the headlines pop up on your newsfeed, and it seems like it's like not making as much of a stir as the other Nolan movies. And like the only thing I keep on hearing is like it's really confusing. The sound is mixed really low and all this other stuff. So now I'm starting to wonder like, do I want to wait till that comes out on VOD? But the spectacle is kind of it sounds like the main reason to go see that movie would be the spectacle. So I don't know.
Right. I agree. I feel like I've kind of got that same vibe from you where I've seen, I've avoided spoilers. I've done everything I can to I know as little about this plot as possible.
Right.
I've watched trailers and things like that. But when you, I live on YouTube watching YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff. And I've seen a lot of the normal YouTube bro review guys that review everything and all the review channels and whatever. And when they make a thumbnail where their head is tilted and they're like scratching their chin, like, that classic look.
Right.
And it's like Tenet review where they're like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm kind of seeing, right?
Yeah.
People are kind of like, maybe we got another Interstellar on our hands. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not quite another Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I even when they were announcing it, like I'm interested in it because the visuals look cool, and honestly, like whatever Nolan does with time, that's basically what his thing is. Like he's got to figure out something to play with time in every movie. So that's the most interesting aspect for it for me. But I do hate that. I appreciate and respect that Christopher Nolan has taken it on himself in this position he's in, where he's like the savior of the multiplex. But because of that, it's like he has to make spectacle movies, and I kind of wish that he could do an indie movie in between. Like I wish he could do like after all the bullshit he went through. I feel like he's had such a crazy track record with like his movies having some sort of catastrophe associated with them when they're released. Like I would want to see him do like a Memento or something like that. Something where, you don't even have to shoot it on IMAX if you don't want, you know what I mean? But I don't think he's ever going to be able to go back to that because he's like the new, I don't want to call him Spielberg, but he's like that, tier of A-list director now, and it's like
right.
You gotta get people eating popcorn. So
I think what I would love for him is to not do something so weird with time. I would almost love to see him do almost like what Denis Villeneuve has done, where it's like, hey, I'm going to do a Blade Runner movie, or I'm going to do Dune. Mm-hmm. Like, do something that maybe a remake, or maybe something that is just a story. Like,
yeah.
Kind of like, don't invent a new universe, or like maybe do a Bond film or something, and just be like, use all your craziness to do something really cool and well done, like as opposed to every 5 years you just create a new confusing universe that people are like trying to dissect for the next 5 years until the next one comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his the whole thing of him having to make these crazy like Rube Goldberg, like, you know, what are they always say they're like watchmaker movies because everything's got to be like, you know, like work in tandem with each other. And so I like all that, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's like he gets so caught up in the plot, like all of his movies are so plot driven that you know, like you miss little moments. Like I think one of his best movies was Dunkirk because that was the closest thing to a...
I forgot about Dunkirk.
Well, I mean, that was the closest thing to him not playing with time. Like that had the time thing in it, but you probably could have excised it. But it also...
That was my most frustrating Chris Nolan time movie. With the frigging clock and the timelines all intersecting. I think that was my... God damn you.
Yeah.
Damn you, Chris.
So that one I liked because it was at least like very little dialogue. You could kind of, you know, it was like almost a silent movie at parts and everything like that. So, you know, I liked that. Like, I feel like he was using spectacle in that sense to enhance the story. And I feel like people are 50-50 on the time elements of that one. Like, some people say the time elements like detracted from it. Some people liked it. But I felt like the time elements weren't like front and center, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, that's the thing is like, I felt like he was just telling a story, like you're saying, instead of just getting bogged down in all this other stuff. So it'd be cool to see him do another one of those. I have no idea where he goes from here because it's like he's got the ability to do anything. I like that he's doing his own thing. Like, please don't do another superhero movie or anything like that. But like, yeah, like I'm kind of curious, like what's next? Like, he was always rumored to have some sort of what's his name? The airplane guy, Howard Hughes. He had some Howard Hughes script that was apparently supposed to be fantastic, but he was...
That would be cool.
Well, so the thing was, he was getting it ready to film, and then The Aviator came out and like killed all hopes for that. So I want to see, I want to see him pull out one of his old scripts from, you know, the drawer and like, you know, maybe throw that on.
What is his brother? Isn't his brother the main writer? Like, he and his brother write everything, right? Can't the two of them figure something out?
You would think. His brother seems like he's really busy now because his brother, you know, he's like a showrunner for Westworld, I think, and like his brother works. Like, he does a lot of TV.
Yeah, where were they when Star Wars needed to get rescued?
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
Feel like
Chris Terrio. Let's get Chris Terrio over here.
Right. Oh, the guy that what else did Chris Terrio? He did the Batman movie, right? Or yeah.
God damn. God, I rewatched this is how much contempt I have for the sequel trilogy. Is that I have Disney Plus because I live with the lovely Ash and she demands it. And it's been, I don't know, I've had access to rewatching it for months, and I literally did it like the other day. I saw the Rise of Sky, whatever it's called. Is that what it's called?
The third
Rise
one?
of Skywalker. Yeah. The third one. Oh, that's what I'll call
What
it.
did you? Was that the first time you saw it, or was that like a repeat?
The first time I saw it was in the movie.
Okay.
And I only saw it once, and then I waited for a year, whenever it is, and then I rewatched it. I mean, it's just unthinkable. If you told 8-year-old Dave that, hey, in 2019, there's going to be like a new Star Wars movie, and you're going to have access to see it for months or weeks later, and you're just not even going to care.
Yeah.
And it's the best one of the sequel trilogy, which is horrifying. But I rewatched it recently, and I'm like, God damn it! It's so bad.
Well,
God, it's bad.
If there was ever any proof that your childhood is dead, it's probably
it's dead.
Know. But I mean, whatever. Mandalorian, right? Are you on the Mandalorian train?
God. Well, what's depressing about the Mandalorian is that it's just fine.
Yeah,
it's just fine.
But fine is like amazing.
But the bar is so low
right.
for Star Wars content, I think, that people think it's incredible.
Right.
And the fact that people think it's incredible depresses me. It's fine. It's not incredible. But people are just, Baby Yoda, oh, the Mandalorian, this is the way, meme everything, chicken nuggies,
right.
Taika Waititi, he's the IG-76 or whatever the fuck. people just they've glommed onto it like it's like this should be Star Wars. Where the fuck? Why have Favreau do this? Whoa, what's going? Gina Carano. Like it just the fervor around the Mandalorian just depresses the shit out of me because it's just it's okay.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fun to watch Bill Burr run around and you know what I mean, be on it and stuff like that. And
yeah,
it's
I will say
it's not even as good as Westworld to me.
Really,
you know what I mean? It's just
oh wow,
yeah,
man.
I mean, if you think about the Westworld season 1 versus Mandalorian, I don't think it's even close.
Well, I would say it's like not even close to most of that high tier HBO stuff. Like I think like it feels like
I would agree.
It feels like one of those shows that would be on like UPN back in the day, like a almost like a Xena warrior princess. But like with the higher
out there, I mean that is just a low blow that I don't even know if I could bring myself to. Maybe a WB.
Okay.
Not quite
okay.
UPN, my friend. UPN.
Okay. Well,
you kids remember UPN? I don't think the kids out there know what UPN is.
Man,
remember Shasta McNasty?
Yes. Wow.
I mean, there was some real classic. Was the PJs on Fox or was that on UPN?
That was on Fox. I definitely remember the PJs.
Okay, I'm trying to remember some of the UPN classics, but yeah, there was a whole age where is the WB still a thing? Where are all these?
Well, so
is it C20? Where are all the shitty Flash and all that stuff? What?
So that's
what network is that?
That's CW, but is it
CW?
Okay, but didn't UPN and WB combine to become CW? Am I getting that wrong?
That sounds about right. That sounds perfect. I don't know, but that sounds exactly right.
To just make
that sounds like to make that absolute just. Think that level of tier, but worse. That's what Mr. Andrew Volpe is comparing. He's saying, think CW, but worse.
Well, no.
That's where we're
I'm just saying in the sense that, like, it's got a bigger budget and the rating is better, but, like, it's that episodic, lone traveler goes... I mean, the whole show is totally just a riff on the Lone Wolf and Cub series, that samurai series, right, and everything like that. So it's like one of those things. I think that was the appeal of it, where it's like there's a storyline and everything like that. But if you came in on episode 5, you'd probably be able to just watch episode 5 and not have to know all the backstory and not have to watch the other 3 seasons. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that you could watch if it was just on TV one day or something like that. It's more episodic.
Have you seen The Mandalorian yet? Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I think I didn't see the last episode, but I ended up watching it like months after the hype because the Baby Yoda memes almost.
Here's my thing about Baby Yoda. Do you get angry that you're just relying on a weird, never-ending tension of some harm befalling Baby Yoda?
Not really.
That's the entire tension of the show. Do you find that lazy and cheap, or is it just me?
I mean, it's like throwing a baby in there is not like... I don't want to say it's like a trope. It's just like a universal...
It's a plot device.
Yeah.
It's like a living MacGuffin that we're constantly... The whole show is just... Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda.
Right.
Don't let anything happen to Baby Yoda. You know what I mean? We riot if Baby Yoda dies. I mean,
well, it's also...
That's the whole thing.
I don't feel that tension a lot because I know they're not going to fucking kill Baby Yoda. Also, it's Baby Yoda, so he's going to fucking force, choke or whatever. Whoever, the gag with him is always like, oh no, Baby Yoda's in danger. Oh wait, Baby Yoda is like... super powerful.
But don't you think that's lazy? I can't stand that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not...
You know what I mean?
Nuts.
There's no like stakes for me.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But I mean, I feel like you're not really trying to like I said, you're not trying to make, like you were saying, like it's you're not trying to make revolutionary television with this. It's like supposed to be a little bit more comfort food, I guess, which is not... excusing it or whatever, but I feel like since everyone's so exhausted with the sequel trilogies, like lore and all the other stuff like that, like it's something that's like, even if it's not lower stakes, it's like you kind of know things will turn out all right in the end. I think people crave that these days, especially too. You want something that's like, you see some people shoot some lasers and you see some robots and aliens, and everything's going to turn out okay in the end. Yeah, I think that's the appeal of it. I also think I think Jon Favreau is a good director at times, but I still feel like he is a dude who just kind of stumbled into being riding the Disney train really early on. And so when people are like, oh, Jon Favreau is making this thing, I'm never really that excited. I'm always going to wait and see what the final product is. Because as far as I'm concerned, his only two good movies are Iron Man and maybe The Jungle Book. And everything else has been pretty mediocre,
Well, do you think he and Kevin Feige are in some weird child sacrifice cult? Where are the bodies?
Well,
I was trying to explain what Kevin Feige is to Ash, and she was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, there's this guy who worked as a lowly executive at Marvel for 10 years, and then he convinced them to take a chance and make this weird movie with Robert Downey Jr., who just got out of jail." And they hired a guy who was an actor, and he was Monica's boyfriend on Friends, and he did Swingers, and he was the fat guy in PCU. His name's Jon Favreau, and they were like, "Hey, Jon Favreau, do you want to take a chance and direct this weird Iron Man, which is a character that no one really cares about or likes because he's a swarmy asshole?"
Right.
And they were like, "We've got a swarmy asshole. It's Robert Downey Jr. He needs to do this because he needs a career revival after I think he did Zodiac or something in 2006." Yeah. So he gets this movie out. It goes out, and he's now the executive producer on every single Marvel movie that ever gets made. And he's worth untold hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's one of the most powerful executives in Hollywood. And Ash went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, that's a real story. That's a real man's life. Because we were watching Favreau's Chef Show, and they have an episode where it's the Russo brothers, Tom Holland, Favreau, Robert Downey Jr., I think that's it. Maybe one other person. And Feige.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "Who are all these people? Who's the weird looking
the dude with the baseball
hat at this nice restaurant?" Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, that's Kevin Feige. Let me tell you who Kevin Feige is." Kevin Feige was a low level, and I go into the whole,
Yeah.
And she's like, "Jesus.
Well,
what an incredible world we live in."
Well, I kind of get the sense that I don't know how the Marvel shit works, and I'm sure it's so massive at this point that it's it's the most multi-layer corporate level. I'm sure there's just executives upon executives or whatever, but I think the general idea is that Feige is supposed to be kind of making sure that is the umbrella overseeing the all the 10 movies, make sure that all 10 movies in phase 5 or whatever the fuck we're on now.
I think he makes a lot of PowerPoints that have synergy in the title of them.
Well, you gotta if you have a franchise that's 20 franchises and you have to make sure all of the mythology connects and everything like that, I kind of get the sense that he's doing that. And also,
I feel like you don't need to do any of that because you can just make it up. You can just.
Well, I'm always curious about how all the stuff that you don't hear about behind the scenes at Marvel. I heard that Feige basically ended up directing the shitty Thor movie, even though his name's not on it, because there were infights with the director at the time and everything like that. So I think he's the guy that has the final word. Basically, he steps in if need be.
Yeah, he's the president of Marvel Studios or whatever his title is these days. He's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I mean, he's still better. I mean, the guy that was running it, the guy that runs the comic brand, Ike Perlmutter, is apparently a crazy raving asshole. So the fact that
is he the guy that just got Me Too'd, or is that someone else? I feel like someone in the comic industry gets Me Too'd every week.
There was something a bunch of people.
Someone at DC Comics just got booted. I think.
And then on top of that, they have all the firings and stuff. I feel bad for them. They've had a shitty couple of months.
It's not a great time.
But yeah, aside from that, nobody knows what Kevin Feige does. I'm assuming he's the guy. I don't know. When you have all of those famous people and all of the bullshit, whoever's getting, I don't know, Tom Holland off of heroin in order to make him ready for the. Obviously, he's not, but like, you know what I mean. Like every celebrity or whatever needs coddling in order to get them to do the thing. Like Gwyneth Paltrow, you know, like people like that. Like I'm sure even if they're only in the movie for like 10 minutes, they're probably a nightmare, and you probably have to have somebody to kind of like just make sure all of these pieces fit and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. If they're ever hiring, give me a call. I will happily be a man who is in charge of figuring out who gets to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean,
like, I'm happy to do that one.
Sure.
I will just anoint Brie Larson. Would you like to have hundreds of millions? Here you go. You know, Chadwick Boseman. Would you like to have hundreds of millions? Yeah, here you go. You know what I mean? I'm happy to do that with give me a magic wand, and I'll just anoint whoever I like, and get to decide how many franchise, how many this and that's they get to do. I'll do that.
Well, the most important question is, how do you look in the hat? When you're delivering those PowerPoints, the hat is where all the power comes from.
It just says Marvel on it.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen the is it Mark Lowe? God, what's his name? Does that name sound familiar?
I have no idea who that is.
Who's the guy from? He's in every movie. Chad Lowe, right?
Rob Lowe? Who?
Rob Lowe.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
Rob
you
Lowe.
got it. Rob Lowe. Have you ever seen This is not going to be a meme that strikes with you, but there's a great meme of Rob Lowe was at a football game, with which a football game consists of a competition between two teams.
I've heard of these.
Yeah. Well, just, I don't want to lose you. And so he was at the football game, but he was wearing a hat that just says NFL on it. And that is the perfect kind of. Rob Lowe is a weird, out-of-touch robot that would wear a hat like that, like an alien trying to blend in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel the same way for Feige, of him just walking around with like a Marvel hat on, like reminding, can I get into this club?
Right.
And he tilts the hat down and he points to it and goes, I'm the Marvel guy. You know what I mean? Like, if you take his hat off, he loses all the power.
What if his hat is like the sorting hat from Harry Potter, and it like you put your name in it, and it like talks to you, and it tells you like what franchise star you're gonna be, or
Exactly. Maybe it's magic, like the Mad Max hat. Remember Mad Max?
Yeah. What about Mad Max? Had a hat?
Well, he had a magic red cap that would transport him through time and space. Maybe his is like that.
I'm definitely thinking of a different Mad Max.
The Mad Max cartoon is one of the most underrated cartoons of all time. The mythology and lore of Mad Max is far deeper than people appreciate.
Wait, so
it's not.
You're talking about.
It's not just a male ripoff of Polly Pocket toys.
You're talking about Mighty Max.
What did I say?
You said Mad Max, and I was like, wait, they made a Mad Max cartoon, and it has a magic hat in it? Hold on, back up. Okay, I'm pretty Mighty Max. Yeah.
I'm very I'm in a weird sleep deprived post workout day. I'm unconscious on the mic. You know what I mean?
It's all right. These podcasts are just Mighty documentations Max. Of us slowly going crazy, anyways. So,
absolutely, not slowly. Yeah, Mighty Max. Go watch the Mighty Max cartoons. But he had a great red hat, and it was magical.
Yeah, that I do
for
remember.
For the kids
that.
out there, the millennials listening are not going to appreciate that. Dragged Across Concrete. Finally got to see. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Craig Zahler, right? Zahler.
Yeah.
Craig Zahler.
The only Craig Zahler movie I've watched so far is Bone Tomahawk, which I really liked. But I've not seen Cell Block, and I have not seen Dragged Across Concrete. But I have a friend that like has been for like the last year, like every time when I used to have smoke breaks at work, he would be like, have you watched Dragged Across Concrete yet? Nope, I'll get to it next week, and I just have not gotten around to it yet. But is it brutal?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so Craig Zahler's whole shtick is he's basically like a poor man's Quentin Tarantino. You know what I mean? Where he is embracing this weird blend of trying to make kind of very old school throwback, interesting, hyper realistic kind of movies, but also making them incredibly violent and gory and upsetting.
Right.
say for instance, you would watch like Michael Mann, right? Heat.
Oh
Michael
yeah,
Mann?
yeah, Michael Mann.
Okay. So like a film like Heat, where there's violence and some depth and things like that going on, there's similar type of themes in a lot of the more present day. Like Bone Tomahawk takes place in the kind of
Old West.
18
Yeah.
Old West kind of,
Yeah.
The more recent ones, both which oddly star Vince Vaughn, are Cell Block, Brawl in Cell Block
99.
some 84
99.
90 or something,
Something like that, yeah.
and then Dragged Across Concrete, which take place in like present day and in more modern settings. They are just absolutely brutal in terms of how you would kind of see someone be really hurt in a way.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like they go into, like he goes into weird details that I feel like even Quentin Tarantino doesn't really want to even get into.
Go ahead. Oh, well, he always kind of struck me as like Cormac McCarthy type because he doesn't have humor. And, like it's all like deadpan. It's like some of the stuff. I'm basing this all on Bone Tomahawk, but like some of the deaths in it are like creative. Like it has one of the most disgusting death scenes I've ever seen, and it's creative. And in a different movie, you would like. It would be like an Evil Dead, Dead Alive, like, oh, this is so over the top, I've got to laugh at it kind of thing. But like in Bone Tomahawk, it is just like just the most morose, like it's all done like very straight faced. And is that kind of the vibe of his other two movies, or?
Yeah, so in Cell Block, I don't remember anything funny about it. It's just absolutely brutal from start to finish. There might be some humor in it, but I can't remember anything because I saw it, a couple years ago probably. And then in Dragged Across Concrete, there is dark humor, but it's not really like laugh out loud funny. It's weird. And you're watching Vince Vaughn, who you think of as like, I think of as like old school or Wedding Crashers, like the frat pack kind of like fun. Vince Vaughn has had a lot of crazy like Psycho and all his weird, different films before that. And then after that, and in Cell Block, he's completely just, he goes to jail basically because, I don't want to get into it, but he basically ends up in jail. It's just horrible, kind of explaining. That one is great if you want to know about how, like, worst case scenario, what prison's going to be like. That's a great one to learn about. This one, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn play detectives who are going to basically steal from criminals and that whole process. So there's a scene where, for instance, a woman who's just a civilian like woman gets shot with like a semi-automatic like submachine gun, like an MP5 or something, and like she gets shot like all in her hands and her fingers are all blown apart and off. Just things like that. Right. Like things that like you're like, oh, interesting. I guess like that's what it would look like if someone put their hands in front of their face to protect themselves and they were still alive and looking at their hands that are all being like just destroyed. You know what I mean? There's another scene where a character, like, I don't want to say a character, but someone in the film swallows something that needs to be retrieved by someone else, and they kill the person. They cut open the stomach. They're explaining how to do it because there's a guy who's telling another guy how to do it, and they're saying things that are just uncomfortable. You're learning, make sure you don't cut into the liver. It's the worst smell in the world, especially black guys. And I was like, Jesus, like that extra weird tinge of like
that extra,
a black guy's liver is worse. Like how the fuck, like, well, just goes into these details about stuff where you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
It's like, how many livers have you extracted from people to know that?
Well, that's exactly right. And you start to go like, my God, dude, like, are you an expert? Like, and they are, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of scary people, and so it's really interesting and I want to say fun, but I appreciate them. I think is probably the best word for them because he does put a lot of care into this,
Is it like is it like you don't quite enjoy it per se? Like enjoy probably wouldn't be the best word, but you appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I was like, this is one I'm not even going to try to get Ash to watch. You know what I mean? I'm just going to try to watch this on my own, in bed with the headphones on or something. Because there's weird levels I'm willing to push my relationship and things like that. But a Craig Zahler movie, I don't know if it could handle it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she'll never trust me again. You know what I mean? So yeah, these are ones that I reserve even for myself. You know what I mean? So to put it in perspective,
Dave's private
where they're not just
private stash.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this isn't, this is like, this is not a good date night film.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But like, Dave won't even risk his marriage over Craig Zahler viewing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what he's up to now. I checked out his IMDb or his Wikipedia. Like, I don't think he's got anything in production. I don't know if it's COVID related, but nothing really on the books.
I think he's
not
kind of like one of those guys that actually is like multi-talented, because he's apparently also an author and a musician. So I wouldn't be surprised if, I'm sure he's got some other irons in the fire, but those 3 movies that we talked about all came out within like 4 years of each other too. So maybe he's like taking a little bit of a hiatus to like get the next 10 projects in line. His career seems to be going on the up and up though, because it's like these 3 movies have been bandied about as like some of the best movies of the last few years. So
I think if you can stomach them, they're really great, and they're perfect for people who like hyper violence. If you want Tarantino without the whole diner sitting, but there's even, I'm sitting here thinking there's even diner scenes in this goddamn movie. You know what I mean? So it's like,
is it like not Tarantino per se, but like, remember in the 90s how everybody was coming out with like Tarantino-esque movies, like dirty crime movies where gangsters sometimes have long monologues, but it's still mostly just like gritty gangsters killing each other kind of thing.
Yeah, there are different scenes with quite a bit of just dialogue between 2 main characters, especially with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, where there's stakeout scenes where they're literally just sitting in a car and they're bored and they're making chit chat, or they're not, or they're sleeping, but it is pretty realistic, you know what I mean? Where there's scenes where like, okay, you watch, I'm gonna go sleep. Okay, wake up. Hey, it's time to. I feel like it's not really designed overtly to be entertaining. Like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we just had them like have this incredible conversation about something? No, like let's just have Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn kind of make like very quiet, uninterested small talk at times, because the characters would clearly be tired, grumpy, pissed, whatever.
Right, like that's the thing that made me think of Cormac McCarthy, where like sometimes it's like, even like, once again, I haven't seen the modern ones, but like it seems like even the modern ones are kind of got a little bit of that like really hardcore Western thing where it's like people don't talk much and it's more almost about what's not being said kind of thing a little bit. I don't know, I could be off on that, but
no, I think the closest something, I think it's a little bit Tarantino subject matter, but kind of stylized like Yorgi Lanthimos, in that kind of weird, like very direct, not flowery, Hemingway-esque writing style.
Yeah, like terse, like
blunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you're in for you want to have a not so fun night.
Well, I'll take that over the fucking Tax Collector by the sound of it. So
well, that's for sure. I would recommend Drag Across Concrete over the Tax Collector for sure.
Hot take.
But, there you go. What else? I mean, I've got a bunch of random shows I can do some little hitters on. I think Nick and I are we're supposed to do something for Lovecraft Country.
Oh, cool.
We've watched a few of those. Have you caught any of those
Yeah,
yet?
I watched up to episode 3. I'm kind of mixed on it. Like, I think the, same thing, HBO Productions, like everything, all the aspects of it except for the script I think are fantastic. Like the cast is fantastic, it looks great, it's well shot I think for the most part, and the effects are great, and I like the concept, but I feel like the plot's a little uneven. Like I really like and it's based on a book. I assumed that it was going to be kind of like Castle Rock, where it's like, oh, we're going to take all these H.P. Lovecraft elements and put them in a different setting, and they'll fight different monsters every week. But I apparently somebody came out with a book, Lovecraft Country, and that's what this is based on. I think I could be wrong. But yeah, so the first episode I thought was cool, like a little bit slow, but I like we're gonna basically introduce a different aspect of racism every week and tie it into a monster theme. But like the second episode was where I was like, whoa, that somebody got a note to speed things up, because if the second episode felt like it should have been episode 8. Like they laid on all this shit really quick and wrapped it up really quick. And then the third episode having nothing to do with the second episode, where it seemed like a lot of stuff happened, I started to realize this is kind of like the way when I was talking to Ross, I was like, oh, this is just like Jim Crow X-Files, where it's like a monster of the week, like it's just these characters running into a different monster every week. And it was basically ended up being campier than I was expecting when I saw the trailers. And so I'm still on board. Like I still like it, and it's mostly because of the cast and the monsters and everything like that. But it's still not quite as it's basically campier than I was expecting in certain parts.
I started reading the book. Where I am in the book is basically like episode 3.
Oh wow!
So I'm kind of like, because I'm it's weird to read a book like. It's a weird thing because usually whenever we see something, I try to read a book and then we watch the movie.
You don't want to concurrent. You don't want to like mix up the book and yeah.
Because of the structure of the show and the book, where they follow the same path. Like, so the first few sections of the book is that storyline where they go to the Blaythrights. Is that They go up to Ardent, Massachusetts, right? They were with the house and the whole thing, and then it shifts, like, boop, like that chapter ends, and then boom, this other story is going to start about Letitia in the house.
So the book is as episodic as the show. Yep. Interesting. Okay,
it's broken off in chunks like that, and it will have the same characters, but it's almost like the way it's structured a little bit is like, hey, this was an Atticus story, this is a Letitia story, and I don't know, like, I don't know beyond this where it'll go, and I haven't seen the fourth episode. The fourth episode they release randomly, like, I think Thursday, I guess with Labor Day holiday.
Oh, okay.
Coming up or something, but so it's out there to watch. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I'm gonna try to blitz through the book and kind of see where it goes. But it's interesting because the book is much more, it's very close, in my opinion, to like a Stephen King, like overwhelm you with background and minutia and narration.
Right.
Like overwhelm you. And basically, if you like the show and you want to learn more about how horrible it was for African American people to live in the United States in the 50s and 60s, the book is great because it'll teach you a whole lot of why this happens or what is going on. Like, there's little things in the show where they explain, like, hey, this house is on contract, and you're like watching it and you're like, what does that mean? And the book will go into absolute, like, well, most banks wouldn't loan to black people, so they had to go through a different kind of company, which was called a contract. So it was basically like paying rent on, and you had to make every payment, or they would evict you and then keep all your money. So instead of paying equity into it, they basically were just collecting rent, and then at the end of a term, you own it. But if you missed even one payment, even the last payment, they had the right to basically just not give you your house that you paid for. And so they go into detail, like the author does, just explaining how this all worked 50 years ago.
That, like, just what you explained to me just now, I feel like I liked episode 3, but I feel like I would have been way more invested in episode 3 had I understood those stakes. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So the book does give a lot of good context, kind of explaining the story. The book is not as entertaining as the show, and the show has made some changes that I think kind of make it better in a way. Like they did some interesting things. So the character of the Blaythright daughter, the blonde, hyper blonde, like
the
Nazi queen looking, the princess girl,
Mad Max chick, or whatever.
She doesn't exist in the book. She's not.
Oh, okay.
So that character is actually the guy's son, and they were like, well, we like the idea of having this guy, so let's invent that boyfriend, friend, manager, butler, assistant guy. Let's make the son that guy in the show. So what they just kind of created 2 characters out of the one that's in the book, and they were like, let's get another female on TV, I guess, and they were like, let's get a pretty face and get a hot girl or something, you know what I mean? So let's have her. So they gender swapped some stuff. They made some. They broke it out. They did some different things. The things with the uncle and the father. Sometimes they switch them.
Okay.
Where in the show it was the father who did this and not the uncle, and then in the book it was the uncle and not the father. So they've made some different changes that some serve it to be a better product, I think, but others not really, and just make it weirdly confusing. But yeah, I'm still kind of like, I would say probably in the first third of the book, quarter of the book or something. So I'm going to keep reading and kind of see where it goes. But if you like the show, people, go out and grab the book, because the book will, and you want to learn more about just kind of the history and things like that. But also, you know, certain things in the book are a lot more rushed than in the show. In the show, really? They actually take more time explaining like the cult of Adam and all that stuff. And some of that stuff is actually better in the show, like more explained than in the book, which is completely strange.
Well, I mean, but that kind of blows my mind, because like I assumed that like if anything, like the show would be based on a series of books, because it feels like every episode could have been a book, like its own like you know, Goosebumps adventure or something like that, like, or you know, Lovecraft. But but yeah, like that's the one thing, is like even in book form, I wonder how rushed that would feel. But yeah, I do agree. I feel like the book, having the context that's in the book, might make me appreciate the, you know, the stuff that they don't have time to go into in the show a little bit more. Yeah, I feel like the show, the way it's structured, is like a little bit too like 3 scenes of dialogue, and now we got to throw in a monster or something just to make sure people don't get bored. Like it does feel like a little like speed up, slow down kind of thing. Like you can tell, I feel like every 10 minutes they realize that they're going to start to lose people, so that's when they have to throw in like something, you know, supernatural or something like that. And I kind of wish it meshed a little better together sometimes.
Right. Yeah, it is weird. Yeah, like I was just going to say, in the first episode where they're running through the hills with the monsters in the woods and stuff, not in the book at all.
Oh,
because
wow.
That's just not in the book. Doesn't happen.
I mean, that made sense because they needed something to, like, that's the thing, is like, I thought that episode was good, but I was definitely like, I was watching it with Ross, and he was like definitely giving me the when are we going to get to the fireworks factory thing, because like, you know, he was like, you told me this was about monsters and I haven't seen a fucking monster yet. So yeah, you got to do something to keep the asses in seats, I guess.
I feel like I almost find just the normal trials and tribulations of their lives kind of more interesting than anything the monsters have to offer, in a way. Like if you just had like, hey, this black girl is going to buy a house in a white neighborhood and throw parties, and there's guys that are harassing her and trying to burn her house down. Right. Like that's almost its own thing, that you know what I mean? Like adding in different elements of stuff just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. But
yeah, it's like the race.
To me, it's like, yeah,
the racism by itself is like, you know, scary enough and everything. I think that's like one of the coolest parts about the show, is it's like, you know, putting that stuff a little bit more front and center, and it is a good, you know, way to like tie, like I like it when you have the horror element of any story or any supernatural story, like they have to tie in, they have a thematic tie-in to the real life thing, and it's like, you know, the real monsters are the people and everything like that. Yeah, so you know, it's a good watch. It's like one of the ones I'm like, I watch it, but I'm totally cool if, like, say for instance, if I didn't go back to watch it, like if I waited 3 weeks to watch the next 3 episodes and just binge them later, I would be totally fine with it. You know, like I'm not chomping at the bit to get the next one. I think it's a good show, but it feels a little like X-Files or something like that. I feel like I can walk away from it for a bit if I need to.
Things like Star Trek Lower Decks. Have you heard about this? The animated Star Trek series from the dude who he's still on, I guess, with Roiland. He was the guy who left. He's part of the Rick and Morty crew, but he's half of the guys at Solar Opposites.
Right.
He's the other guy. Yeah. So just him by himself, I guess. Not Roiland, not Dan Harmon, is the Star Trek Lower Decks guy.
Right, and it's totally got the that aesthetic too. The Rick and Morty.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched they had the first episode available for free on YouTube for a week, and I watched that, and it was like, It was cool. I've heard Star Trek. Like, I don't watch Star Trek, so I don't have any investment in it.
Me neither.
But like, I heard Star Trek fans, like, ever since all the CBS All Access stuff, like, has apparently been like super pissing off like a lot of Star Trek fans, and it's like the animated one. This show is supposed to be canonical, right? Isn't that the deal? Like, it's like, oh, this actually, all the stuff that happens in the show really happened in the Star Trek universe, no matter how goofy it is or whatever.
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm anything I learned from Star Trek is through the like Red Letter Media guys randomly bringing it up. But yeah, I'm not I like Star Trek. I'm just not a diehard Star Trek person. I remember watching like The Next Generation randomly in my house. Like, my dad had it on or something. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know all the. I'm not.
That's a lot of lore to like. I remember.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's like the reason why I never got into it, because it's like, am I starting with the '60s and am I getting all the way up to It's just so much lore and stuff. On just a basic goofy cartoon level, I thought it was fine. I laughed a little.
Yeah.
I'm not subscribing to CBS All Access, so I don't really give a fuck.
No. For my cold dead hands, CBS. The audacity to think that you could stand alone and charge a fee.
Also, CBS.
How dare you?
Of all the networks, like, CBS is definitely the one for your grandpa. Like, if there's anyone that's...
I mean, well, yeah, who do you think you are?
Right.
What are you doing?
And let's face it, they're just... their whole CBS All Access is basically them, like, holding Star Trek hostage. Because, like, nobody's...
And, like, what was the other one? The Jordan Peele...
oh, do they have the Twilight Zone?
His... Yep.
Oh. So I haven't.
It's like, oh, that would be cool. Never mind.
Yeah, that's the thing is,
yeah,
like it's like, I almost guarantee you anything they could pull out would not be cool. Like, aren't they coming out with The Stand? That's their one thing. That's So
Skarsgård and Whoopi Goldberg.
So you and me, we're going on a fishing trip when that happens for our. We read the book. We're gonna go out on the seas for that, because fuck.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Get out your net, buddy.
Yep. Get the oars out. You know what I mean? Hit the seas, pirates. They got to be shitting their pants watching Peacock. You know what I mean? With the way they've been doing. Why didn't they just do a Peacock? Where it's like free, but if you want to watch more, you could do this or that, or like do something.
Yeah, like virtually every streaming service. I mean, like Apple TV too. Like, they're all Disney Plus. Like, they're all like, at least like, if we're going to screw you, we're going to give you a year of this shit first. Because that's the thing is, like, the year free subscription is brilliant because it's enough time for you to get comfortable with the idea of having $5 taken to your... Like, even if you don't care about it, even just having it, like, I feel like as a marketing thing, it's smart. But, like, right out the gate, I don't think anyone's going to do that, especially for fucking CVS.
I 100% agree. What else we got? I mean, I was devastated. Well, not devastated, but I had high hopes for Hoops.
Oh,
on Netflix.
Yeah. I haven't...
Did you watch any of that?
No, I kept on scrolling past it, and I was like,
That's you're right. That's
okay.
Well, it's so upsetting. Like, is it Jake Johnson? What's that guy's name from New Girl?
Oh, yeah, the guy that was Spider-Man in Spider-Verse.
Yes, is that his name, Jake Johnson?
I think so. Yeah, I never watched New Girl, but
you guys know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You out there, you know who I'm talking about. That dude. But he's like he's the main. I guess he's the creative force behind it. I don't know if he's I think he's involved in the writing, but he's the voice of he's the main character. It's like an unfunny mix of Bill Burr's F is for Family combined with Big Mouth, meets like a Fox animated show that runs for like a season and then gets canceled.
Right.
That Amy Poehler executive produces or something. That's kind of what it is.
That sounds about right. It definitely seemed like I think you nailed it with the Fox programming. It sounded like one of the shows they had on after they canceled Family Guy and they needed a Family Guy filler or something.
Did Family Guy get canceled?
Well, like back in 2000 or whenever it was.
Right. Is it still going? Like I don't watch anything on Fox.
Yeah.
Animation. I'll watch like Bob's Burgers on Hulu.
Yeah.
A week later or something, but I don't think I don't know what the lineup is.
Yeah, I've had
no
interest. I'd see it has new episodes when I go through Hulu every once in a while, so I just assume. I feel like I'd hear if the show ended or something like that. It's gonna go on for 40 years, just like The Simpsons.
But Hoops it's super disappointing. Kind of a fun premise, but just completely squandered and wasted. You would think it'd be great, but it's just so weird. And even for me, like I'm a heartless bastard, and the crassness in the show, even for me. And can you imagine me being like, "Oh, you've gone too far," you know what I mean? I'm just like, dude, they're just like weird, uncomfortable, not even just kind of like weirdly unfunny, and you're almost upset that it's not funny.
Yeah,
like there's a scene because I think I made it through like 3 or 4 episodes. There's a scene where they're like burying a dead horse, or they're sawing a dead horse's head off at one point, and you're like, this isn't even a funny scene.
Oh,
like you're just like, it's just uncomfortable.
Oh, jeez.
And you're like, this is supposed to be as like in your I'm sure they pitched it as like, if you think South Park is bad, we're gonna like, this is gonna blow. It's probably one of the most hardcore, like rude, like aggressive, hard R animated shows I've ever seen. Any show, I think. Even a little bit more so than like Big Mouth.
Well, so that's the thing is like, say compared to a Big Mouth, like the doing the hard R, the crassness does not make a good show. You know what I mean? I feel like if everyone's trying to out South Park by just being as disgusting as possible, then you're missing the point, Right.
And this seems like a classic example of, Netflix said we could do anything we want.
Right,
you can, but it's just not good.
It's not good. Algorithm decided, this needs 30%, Big Mouth, and 20% F is for family, and it's just, it looked pretty bland. And also, I wish they would vary up the animation styles with these shows a little bit more. I'm getting sick of the Family Guy aesthetic a little bit.
Well, this is, it seems like the same animation team that does F is for Family, which would make a lot of sense. The characters look pretty similar, so I assume it's kind of the same
team,
production studio, or something. I don't know how it works, and if you're not familiar, if you have Netflix, go try it out. Like, check it out and see what you think. But it's kind of like a weird loser, like has-been main character who's like a high school basketball coach, but he's not old enough to be as weird and bitter as he is, and so you would reserve that for someone a little bit older, like a Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa, where he's clearly kind of been through some shit and he's had weird life experiences and he's older and grumpy. This guy, he's not old enough to be that. So you're just watching someone that you don't believe. Mm-hmm. It takes place in a small town. I think it takes place in Kentucky. And so it like touches on like just weird, I don't know, kind of southern crap, but it's just not funny. Like, I mean, that's the most upsetting weird thing about it is it's just not entertaining. It's not funny. Like, asshole PE high school sport coach, like that's right up my alley.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had insane high school sport coaches, football, hockey, you name it, like just crazy people. So I'm plugged into that whole thing.
Yeah, like this is just, if it's gonna work for anyone, it's gonna work for you, and it doesn't sound
totally like I'm your target audience probably of who would enjoy this, but it's just black.
Well,
go check it out, see what you think. But yeah.
So my question is, with the Netflix algorithm, do you think I'm not so much for like if they wanted to do a season 2, but just the fact that Netflix makes the thing and it exists forever, and if it kind of looks like Family Guy or Big Mouth or one of the good shows, do you think it matters? Like if you're drunk and half asleep and Big Mouth wraps up and Netflix does that thing where it's like it pops up like similar things, and if you're not paying attention it'll just start playing it. I feel like this is one of those shows where it looks like a show. It doesn't even have to be a show. It just has to get those views while people aren't paying attention or whatever.
I guess so, yeah. Like I I don't know. I mean, if I know anything, I think animation is still incredibly expensive to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think Netflix is getting into like a fail fast model where they greenlight a lot of shit, but then if it doesn't hit, they get rid of it quickly.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I've seen, and I think that's their strategy. Like, I don't think it's a secret. I think it's out there or whatever, but I haven't seen any hype or traction or content or anything about it. So I can't imagine it's doing super well, and I can't imagine it would get a second season given how expensive it probably would be. But I mean, who knows? Netflix money, you know?
Yeah, they just don't care. Just burn all the money. They just need those clicks.
Kind of another weird, fun Netflix. It's actually pretty good. Even Ash likes it, so that'll, you know.
Our litmus test.
One for Ash. Yeah, exactly. It's have you watched any Biohackers?
Oh no, I saw that. I saw the thumbnail, but I didn't know what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. It's like a German. I think it's like a German Netflix original, and it's about I don't want to spoil it or get it, but just very loosely the plot. A girl is going to med school in Germany, and she's like pretty smart, pretty gifted, and she wants to be a med student, and she goes to a university that a very famous, like world-renowned, like biochemist is the head of this department, and she wants to study with her and she wants her to like be her mentor and things like that. And they start to kind of discover like different things about, you know, how she's kind of made some different progressions in her career and breakthroughs in science and things like that. And then you kind of you come to understand that the main character, the young girl, has different weird ulterior motives about why she wanted to go there for school and why she wants to get in close with that doctor. Mm-hmm. And it kind of goes in some weird, funky directions, but it's kind of a fun show. It's not light, I wouldn't say. Like, you can throw it on and have it on in the background, but it's not like funny or anything. It's just kind of an interesting, weird. I'm trying to think of something that would be similar to it. Almost.
Is it like that show? Well, no, I guess it's totally. I was gonna say when I saw the thumbnail, I was like, oh, is this like Altered Carbon or something like that? But I assume it's totally different. It's not sci-fi.
Nope. It takes place. No, it's not sci-fi. I want to say it takes place in the present day, or maybe like near future, maybe like 5 years from now, something. Because there's some different things where like her roommates in her flat are all into science and biochemistry and like hacking the human body, and you know, one is really into like plants, and she, you know, hooks up her plants so that she can play them like a piano, and then another of her roommates is into like body modification, where he's putting chips inside his body and his hands and his wrists and implants and different things, and so just different weird fun things like that. But that's another show if you guys are looking for something to. Other than that, man, I mean, I've been watching just the glory of Amazon Prime's extensive catalog of absolute trash horror movies from 1970s and 80s.
Did you find anything on par with The Beast Must Die this week, or? No,
like I feel like that's the dragon I'm chasing, you know what I mean? The Beast Must Die. For every The Beast Must Die, there's...
Oh, I'm sure there's 20.
Quite a few.
Yeah, like it's all terrible. That's... When you're going through that aspect of the Amazon queue, it kind of has the feel of like, you know, when you go to those like if you went to like a used bookstore sometime, like, you know, McKay's used books, you remember, then you go to the video section and they have like, you know, back in the day it was like VHSs, like it has the feel of like
a Betamax of this. I watched one the other night without Ash present, where it's about, I'm trying to remember, I think it was called The Corpse Grinders. And it's about a cat food company that runs out of money. So they
where's this going?
Stop buying.
Where's this going? I have no...
well, so I don't want to spoil it for you, but basically what the plot is a like shady guy owns this cat food company, and he stops buying meat to be made into cat food. So he's basically buying dead bodies from a grave robber who then resorts to, like, if he doesn't have fresh bodies to dig up, just running around and, like, killing hobos. And then he just throws them in the back of a truck and drops them off at this crappy cat food company. The guy then kind of grinds up the bodies, and then it starts putting that in the cat food and selling that. And then the cats start eating human bodies, and they get a taste for flesh, my man.
Oh, man.
Human flesh. And then the cats start to attack people and kill people.
Wow.
So that's the the corpse grinders.
Is it all
So watch it.
terrible effects and whatnot?
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
It's people thrashing around, like one shot. It's the classic, like.
Is it like Night of the Lepus where they do a close up on a cat's face and then it's like
it's horrible.
Person squirming around with a cat
With
doll,
a rat, like a doll, a cat doll,
Yeah, totally.
It's horrible. It's worse than you think, and the scenes where I'm supposed to be led to believe a cat has just killed someone are absolutely fantastic. They're so bad, and I live with 2 cats.
Oh, well,
I'm looking at them right now.
Is it?
So it's hard for me to imagine.
Is it like one cat kills one person? Because that's hard to believe.
Nope.
It's like,
any cat that eats the food.
Okay.
It's just your house cat. One day he's your house cat.
But is it like?
And then the next day he's killing.
Is it like a full-grown adult getting taken down by like 12 cats? Because like maybe I could buy that.
Nope.
Like
one cat.
Wow. Okay.
One cat that weighs 9 pounds, killing an adult person.
Yeah, I think people greatly underestimate how like not strong cats are in general. Like
Oh yeah. Well, I've got my 1-year-old cat werewolf is almost 12 pounds.
Wow.
And he's a beast.
That's like huge.
And then my little one, huge. And then the little one, like, I don't know, what is she? 10 months old? 8 months? Mm-hmm. And she's tiny. She's kind of like very lean. And then Wolf is huge, like a Maine Coon. He's got something in him, man. He's got some weird bear dog gene or something. He's massive.
Is he a demon bear from New Mutants?
Probably. I pretty much. He's just an absolute insane monster cat, just wreaking havoc on the house. He's just an agent of chaos, just trying to destroy everything. But anyway,
not eating human flesh. Yeah. So that's a good
No,
thing.
not yet. We've got him on the good stuff. He's on whatever science diet or whatever Ash has picked out for them. But he's doing all right. I haven't experienced any abnormal attacks or anything. But that's an absolute trash film if you want one. And then one fun one I watched and was C.H.U.D. Have you ever seen C.H.U.D?
Oh, I've seen parts of C.H.U.D.
Man.
It's a.
That's on there.
That's a good one. That's definitely a good basement VHS.
That's just absolute crap. Yep. Yeah. You want just a weird, crappy movie, throw that thing on. And you know what's weird is that it stars, I can't remember the actors' names off the top of my head, but the guy who is Peter McAllister in Home Alone and Marv from Home Alone are both in C.H.U.D.
Oh, wow. Did they come out around the same time, I guess?
Nope. Like, C.H.U.D. is 1984, and Home Alone was what, 1990?
Yeah,
91?
Yeah,
something like that. So you could tell this was like earlier performances for both of them. Not as polished and everything, but just kind of wild. Because to me, that is the quintessential roles that I'll always remember
with those
them.
two. You're not going to associate the dad with Sharknado or whatever,
or what was he was in? No, not Sharknado. But it's just jarring to see him in other things. Yeah. He's always like Kevin McAllister's dad. But he, like when I would see him in The Sopranos as like the creepy alcoholic gambler detective. Remember him in that? It's just so weird to see like, Home Alone.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Those.
There's certain character actors like that. I always, speaking of The Sopranos, I always felt that way about, I forgot the actor's name, but the guy that played T-1000 and T2. Like, and forever on, I'm always like, the T-1000 decided to dress up like this guy today. Or, like, when he was on The Sopranos, I kept on wanting to see him, like, grow a spike arm and, poke Tony in the face or something.
That guy works, man. Like, he's just in random shit. I was watching, like, the Aztecs, or is it Aztecs? Mayans. The new spin-off of Sons of Anarchy. He's in that. I'm playing the new Madden NFL, like, PlayStation game, and he's a random, like, character actor in that. I'm like, you can't escape the man. He's everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's you don't know the man's name, but he's just, it's that guy. And
I mean, he's
his voice and face.
He's a great actor and everything. But that's the thing is, like, I guess that's the thing is, like, if you're a good character actor, sometimes it's like, especially if you got that one role that everyone knows you from, I feel like it's so hard to get around that. I liked it.
Do you remember what CH.U.D stands for? You know what CH.U.D stands for?
Subterranean, cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dweller, right?
Did you Google it?
No. I know.
You're cheating, aren't you?
It's literally I saw parts of it on TV, but I don't like. It's like one of those things that was on TV for me like 15 years. It would be on IFC and shit, or like Showtime Extreme when I was like at my parents' house, coming home from college. And I'd fall asleep on the couch to it at 4 a.m. But I literally like I just have images from it.
I mean, probably some of the worst like monster makeup of even for 1984. It's pretty bad.
Is it worse than like say a Trauma or something like that, or bad on the level?
Maybe I'd say it's worse than a Trauma.
Okay,
I'd say it's worse.
Damn,
it's pretty bad. I mean, you got to go back and watch it. But basically, the plot doesn't matter. It's about weird monsters from the subterranean New York subway tunnels are killing homeless people. They're ganking people on the street, and there's a weird, insane plot reaction to cover it up. The government is wanting to sort of cover up that there's toxic waste down in the sewers, but it's unclear to me, were the CH.U.D people that became CH.U.D, or was there some sort of initiation creature that created the rest of the CH.U.D?
Do you become a CH.U.D if you're No, they just eat you, right? It's not like vampires.
Remember, there was a guy that was bitten by a CH.U.D. He survives, and then when Peter McAllister goes back to check on him again, he's turned like a vampire or a zombie, if you will.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's some, chicken or the egg. Like, what came first, the first CH.U.D or the toxic waste, or I don't know.
Who was
I don't remember the plot clearing it up for me. Yeah, CH.U.D 0. But it's pretty bad, and it was hard to believe that it made a sequel. And I was like, how much did this make, and how much did this cost? And it cost like 1.2 million or 1.3 million, but it made like 4 million.
Oh,
and I think that's good enough. You know what I mean? Like, if you can just if you can survive, and do a couple absolute garbage movies like that, and John Goodman is in the movie in a bit part, as a beat cop that goes into a diner to grab like a burger randomly, and then there's John Goodman randomly.
I guess.
And I was like, I thought he had done King Ralph or something by then. Like, when did John Goodman get going? Because he's too good for this shit.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably when he was like, starting to get recognized. I feel like, what was it, like Arachnophobia or like he didn't start really, or the Babe, one of those. Like, I feel like it was like late 80s when he like really, really started to, or Raising Arizona probably too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that pocket of like 86 through 89 was probably when he really started to blow up.
When did he get Roseanne? Was that like 92 or 3 or something?
Might have been earlier. I thought, wasn't Roseanne like
was it in the 80s?
It might have been like 89, 90.
89?
Yeah, something like that. But Home Alone era, like very early 90s / maybe late 80s or something. Yeah. I'll have to check it. I think I heard something the other day that like that movie was actually made by, like, you would think it was made by like, a bunch of people just trying to throw a movie together, but it like, I think it was like a pet project from the New York like highbrow literary community or something. It was like, I think it was a bunch of it was a bunch of highbrow people's intentional attempt to make a shitty B movie, horror movie or something like that.
They nailed it.
Yeah. But like I said, I haven't seen but pieces of the movie in like the last 2 decades, and I don't know that much aside from it. So
it had a sequel. I haven't seen it, but I think it took like 5 years or 4 years or something, but there is an actual Chud 2.
Oh, thank God. Still chudding?
The Chudding.
Chud Harding.
Still Chudding. Well, it had a really crazy title. Let me Google it too.
Chuds with an S?
The title is Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's...
What does that
That's
mean?
even worse than anything I could have ever come up with.
What is that?
My name is Bud, and I'm here to chud.
All right, let's see. At the start of the film, the U.S. government has ordered a branch of the U.S. military to discontinue tests concerning the CH.U.D project, which is built around the idea that enzymes taken from the sewer-dwelling creatures from CH.U.D can make hyper-effective killing machines in the army. For reasons that are unclear, even to those who watch the film, a certain Bud Oliver, the last specimen of the experiment, who has come to be known as Bud the Chud, is hidden away in a Center of Disease Control office in a small American town, from which a trio of bungling teenagers steal him and accidentally reawaken him in doing so. I don't know who wrote this. Bud escapes and begins to forge an army of Chuds.
Oh no! You gotta love plot descriptions that don't even understand the movie they're summarizing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll have to keep an eye out for Bud the Chud, 1989.
Okay, I think I've heard
84 minutes, not even a 90-minute, which I appreciate.
I mean that all tracks. It seems like that VHS straight to video. What the fuck is this? Type of movie.
So I'm on a never-ending search, and if you guys have any good recommendations, be sure to drop them in the comments for me. As long as they're on Amazon Prime, and I don't even I'll hit the 7 Cs every once in a while, but you know what I mean. Let me know if there's my watch list on Amazon Prime is just like walking up and down a Blockbuster. You know what I mean? When we were kids, and just you would look at the covers and. Holy shit, that looks terrible.
Well, like that's the thing I kind of miss. That's like the one.
Oh, me too.
And like it's just like kind of like only going by the cover art. That's such a thing that you don't get these days. But there is something on Amazon Prime. Maybe next podcast we can do, because I started it the other day, and it's interesting. But have you? I think I was like telling you about it. There's this movie they have on there called The Evil Within.
The Evil Within.
It's a.
I don't think so. But
it's a 2015 movie, and it's a horror movie, and it's directed. It's a passion project of the guy, one of the sons of Paul. It's a J. Paul Getty, the guy from that All the Money in the World.
Okay. Oh right. Yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah. So basically, J. Paul Getty, the guy that they based the All the Money in the World Ridley Scott Kevin Spacey thing on, was one of it. He was a gas mogul or something like that, like a billionaire, and one of his kids or grandkids got kidnapped and ransomed and lost an ear, and he refused to pay the ransom or something like that. So anyways, that one of that guy's brothers, like I think the youngest brother of the family, he basically was kind of like typical trust fund kid, like didn't know what to do with himself, and he was like a diehard horror movie fan. So the one thing he wanted to do in his life was make a horror movie. And so you got the it's like kind of like one of those The Room situations where you have somebody that has no experience and unlimited amounts of money trying to make a movie. And this is like more competent than say The Room or even like a Veronica or something like that. But it's actually got some like really crazy imagery. Oh yeah, the other wrinkle I forgot to mention is, so this guy whose project it was, he was a hardcore meth head, and he also spent all of his money, all of his inheritance, trying to make this movie over the course of like 10 years, and he never finished it. He died while he was still editing it. Damn. But it's got like, I watched the first 20 minutes like a couple weeks ago, and it's like definitely got some hardcore meth head imagery, and it's actually like pretty cool. The plot seems kind of weird. It's got the guy with the bug eyes from The Hills Have Eyes in it.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's really interesting visuals. I'm not even sure how well the story holds up or anything like that, but just as one of those like really huge oddities of films. You know, I'm probably gonna try to watch the rest of that at some point.
Yeah, let's. I'll throw it on the tab. You know what I mean? Or I'll throw it on the pile of the next one I'll watch.
Yeah.
With fish people, and I watched one werewolves on bikes. Like a motorcycle gang that turned into. Dude, there's just the Incredible Melting Man. I mean, I've seen just absolute insane amounts of. And there's a million to go. There's a never-ending amount of
Yeah, I mean, that's the amazing thing is you could spend your entire life watching them and you wouldn't even, like, crack the surface.
No. Absolutely. So, yeah, we'll watch that one for next time. Is there anything else you got? Or
nah, man, I think I'm spent. But I'll try to go, plunging the depths of Amazon with you, see if we can find any crown jewels.
Jump in the mud with me, man. You know, it's like a deep end pool, just a mud or chud. Get a little chud on your feet. You know,
gotta watch out for that chud. Bud the chud.
I gotta see if the Chud sequel. I gotta watch the Chud sequel now. Now, after I've read that description, I'll find the Chud 2, the Chudening.
Maybe I'll get in on the chud action too.
But thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We're going to do our best to break these out in a timely fashion into bite-sized chunks that may be of more interest to you guys. But thanks so much. Give us a like, subscribe, leave us a comment, give us suggestions of things that you think we might enjoy. Let's see, what do we got coming up? I'm going to try to speed read The Devil All the Time because I think the movie is going to come out on Netflix on September 14th, I think. Right. Yeah, if you want to join me in the reading,
I might try to.
Up to you. But what do we got? Tom Holland. It's got a ton of people in this movie. It's got Pattinson's in it. One of the Skarsgårds in it. Bill Skarsgård is in it.
I think so. Yeah.
The Skarsgård.
Oh, the other Sorry, I was thinking of the wrong Skarsgård. My bad.
Yeah, it's a smattering of Skarsgård. But
too many Skarsgårds. This is.
Too many Skarsgårds. So that we'll try to. We'll probably do something for that. You know, even if it's just a quick little review. What else? Hopefully, we'll see Tenet sometime in 2020 if the gods permit.
Are there any?
And we'll be sure to.
What's after Tenet? Like, what else is there? What's the next?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what's happening out there. You know what I mean? Like, I know. We've got Batman that's coming out in 3 years or something. Mulan is out there. I'm not going to watch Mulan.
Nah. Yeah, like Disney is like probably like rubbing its fingers together like, ooh, this quarantine means, or this pandemic means we can just drop all of our shitty movies on Disney Plus and charge people more than they would be charged had they watched it in a theater. Yeah, they must be getting a real boon from it.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know how it would work, but I just find it hilarious that they did everything they could to make it like the most like everyone has to be Chinese.
Right.
Everyone has to be this. The director, even the craft service table, it's all authentic. And then they put out the movie and it's been weeks and weeks and then the star just says like, "Oh yeah, I support the Communist Party's brutal treatment of protesters that want democracy in Hong Kong." And people are like, "Boo, boo you." And Disney's just like, God damn it, come on. We tried so hard. What are you going to do? They got enough money, right?
Poor Disney. Won't somebody cry for Disney?
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's we're sitting here like, we love going to Disneyland. Like, we have the annual passes, like we can kind of go whenever. But man, we're like, I don't know if Disney's going to open anytime soon, and I don't know if I want to go if they do reopen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
the commercials from when they were reopening with everyone with face masks is just like not. It definitely had the opposite reaction of I think what they were intending because it looked like some dystopian nightmare shit.
It pretty much is like the people that go to, so there's this thing called Downtown Disney, which is this like outdoor mall pavilion thing that's outside the entrance of Disney. Mm-hmm. Like you could walk through that and then you get to Disneyland with the security checkpoints or whatever. And they reopened that just little Disney town section, and it's just a cesspool of insanity, of waiting in line for hours in the sun to get into a Disney store that's like not dissimilar to what you would see at like a mall.
Right.
Remember when malls were a thing and they had a Disney store?
Right.
There's basically that, but it's at this thing called Downtown Disney, and people will literally wait in line standing in the heat so that they can go inside this store.
I mean,
so like, I can't imagine what Disneyland people are going to be willing to do.
I mean, you were already waiting in line all the time anyways. I can only imagine what it's like now with everything.
It won't be good, and I'll probably have a panic attack, choking down in the middle of my churro or something as I'm spinning my teacups. You know what I mean? Because the teacups were the only thing that made sense in my life. You know what I mean? It's I don't do drugs and I don't really drink occasionally, but the teacups were my only way to just escape reality for 90 seconds at a time as I forced Ash to twist, damn you, twist, just pull the damn thing. Like I would just, when you're drunk in college and you would get the spins.
Yeah.
Oh man, like that's, I would love that sensation. So the teacups are the closest thing to being on drugs that I could really kind of handle. So I truly do miss. So we're praying like hell.
You hear that, Disney? Dave's going to do drugs now because he can't get his teacups.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I need my fix.
I need my fix, baby.
So
you just
keep praying.
You can do that thing where you like spin your head around on the baseball bat really fast and try to run the bases.
Yeah, we're just sitting in an office chair and have Ash just spin me around.
There you go.
Well, we're working on it. We're praying like hell, but thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.
Peace.